Hi, hey, hello everyone. I have my Jack mug here, filled with coffee, Folgers of course, and it is time to bring you a Top 10 Tuesday. So, I decided to do a fun one, and this week's topic is my favorite right now, because this is subject to change, obviously, and so is the order, but right now, this is the top 10 South Park characters I'm like loving right now. And as you can see, this was a difficult list for me to make because one, two, three I made before I decided on a final list. So here goes. At number 10, I have Henrietta. Henrietta is one of the goth kids. And she's one of the only, I think there's 4. I think. Yeah, there's 4. And she's the only girl out of the group. And she is one of the only 2 that have ever actually been named. No way. I think the little kid might have been named too. But I'm not sure. Yeah. So she was one of the first ones to actually have a name instead of just being one of the goth kids. She is just this embodiment of the bratty kid. She thinks she's different, she thinks she's a nonconformist and everything else, but she is just basically she is basically an adolescent. She's kind of chubby, kind of bitchy. She thinks everyone else has a problem but her, and she thinks she's, just so different, and, she is the typical, like I said, adolescent. She is a typical preteen. She's snotty, kind of mean to her little brother, and they just kind of play up on the gothic elitist stereotypes a lot with these characters, and it's just kind of funny. But you really can't say mad at her because she's kind of cute, and like how South Park is animated and stuff, how she just kind of bounces around to move and everything. She's almost like Cartman, a female version. She doesn't realize there's stuff wrong with her. She thinks it's everyone else. And that's kind of what makes her funny. She's more of the less psychotic version of that, the female version. I would like to see more of her. I would like to see more of the goth kids, period. There are some minor characters, and the things they do can be funny, and yeah, I loved the episode that revolved around the vampire kids and the emos and everything. That was just hilarious. I want to see more of Henrietta because she's just a cute little biatch. Number 9, and people may be a little surprised at this because this used to be my favorite character actually. But I've come to realize, especially like in later seasons, he kind of flip-flops back and forth in personality. And he's still a good character. He's still hilarious and over the top. But as time goes on, you kind of realize that his funniness kind of comes more from the reactions of people around him, reacting to the things he does. And so, of course, at number 9 is Cartman. At number 8 is Nathan. Now, Nathan is one of the handicapped kids. He is basically the rival, sort of Jimmy. And why I say sort of is because Jimmy kind of doesn't always have a clue that Nathan is out to get him. But Nathan hates Jimmy with a passion. And Nathan's kind of a bad kid. You don't want to think that about kids who have problems. But one of the things I like about South Park is their characters are not one-dimensional. I mean, even for a show that's like South Park is, their characters can have depth and everything and different sides of the personality. They're not one way because of race, religion, ability, disability, whatever. On the outside, people see Nathan as a child. I believe he's supposed to have Down syndrome. I'm not sure. I think that was mentioned in an episode. But he, like I said, he is a handicapped child, and he kind of plays it off. Like he doesn't understand when he gets caught in things, when he gets in trouble. He plays the innocent boy who can't understand at their level, when in reality he's evil and conniving, and he almost has like this mafia kind of persona going on in the way he talks and the things he gets into. He's almost like a secret kind of criminal in a way, and I just find it funny, just his personality, and you really feel sorry for him even though he does these bad things because he just can't catch a break. Nothing goes his way. So at number 7 I have Kenny. Now, Kenny's major role in the first few seasons was to just die. I really like Kenny in the later seasons, like 13 through 15, because he had a bigger role, especially as Mysterion. This was the first time, well, not the first time, because we've seen what he actually looked like in the movie, and we've heard him talk more clearly. But this was the first time outside of that he had a more major role. He was as Mysterion, the superhero, but it was one of the few times that we heard him speaking in a clearer voice, even though it's his, Batman-esque superhero voice. And that something centered on him other than him being muffled voice, sex obsessed, and poor. We got to see a different side of him, and I kind of like the Mysterion Kenny version. I thought that was awesome. Definitely a good parody on, the movies that were out and everything. I did like the poor and stupid one with Kenny. Even though he had the muffled voice, that was another one that showed a mature side to him. He wasn't the superhero or anything, but yeah, you could see that he's not as dumb as people might think he was, and he has anger and talent in some ways. But just wish there was more stuff with Kenny being more clear, because Kenny can really be a good character. Number 6 is Butters, also known as Leopold Stotch. Butters, oh my god, I love Butters as Professor Chaos because he tries to be evil and it just doesn't work out for him. That poor guy gets pushed around. But Butters, when he has enough, there has been times he's a little bit more settled on it, which I like, because sometimes that can be just a little bit more disturbing. I love the episode where his grandma picks on him, and then he's talking at the end to his grandma about how one day she's gonna die and this and that, and just poor Butters, no matter what he does, he's just so innocent. He tries so hard to be tough sometimes, but he is just that innocent little boy that gets taken advantage of. And it's kind of funny and cute when he does get angry. And the poor kid is always getting grounded. And just his confusion on life. I love the ungrounded episode. When he tries to become a vampire. That is probably one of the best episodes in my opinion. Number 5 is Stan. Stan, I guess, is the every kid. He's kind of more of the normal, laid-back one out of the four boys. He's more of the typical boy, adolescent, in the ideas of growing up. He's gone through some changes. You know, he's the normal kid. And you have to like the normal kid once in a while. He's really good paired up with Kyle, I will say that. He deals with his crazy father, his grandpa that wanted to die at one time and wanted the poor kid to kill him. Like everyone else, he's got to put up with Cartman. He has faced satanic worshipping animals. His father is actually Lord. And he still manages to sort of be normal. He's kind of the symbol of not going crazy, in my opinion. So number 4 is Wendy Testaberger. Wendy went through voice changes. Because I believe the original voice actor might have died. I'm not sure. There's definitely a change in her voice between the first season and I don't know when it started changing. It might have been around even the 4th or 5th season, I think, because I think the voice change came pretty fast. I do kind of prefer her voice now. Well, it's kind of weird because she had such a childlike voice when the series started out, and now that it's moved on and South Park is focused a little bit more on social issues and things going on now, her voice sounds a little bit more mature, so it's almost as the character kind of aged a little bit. Where she was a squeaky little girl in the beginning, she's now a more mature character interested in, politics and, other important issues. She's challenged other girls on their list of boys. She's challenged Cartman against respecting women, especially with things like breast cancer and stuff like that. I think that's what I liked about Wendy, was she was definitely one of those three-dimensional characters. She kind of grew in the series from this little girl who, was in love with Stan and this and that, to someone who cared more about different issues and wouldn't stand for certain things. She's also kind of psychotic on another level. So, number 3 is Kyle. I love Kyle's passion for things, and he can sometimes get swept up in the wrong kind of stuff, and he can be taken advantage of. He is that side of the four boys. You have Kenny, who's, people don't think much of because he's poor, but in actual reality, he's much more than he seems. Cartman the idiot. Stan the every guy. And then you have Kyle, who is the passionate one. He wants to change things. He thinks he can. Sometimes he can come off as annoying to his peers. But he really just wants to do right. And much like Butters and a couple of the other characters, things hardly ever go right for poor Kyle. But he's a good friend. Stan is a good friend to him. And I think those two are like the best pair. I kind of like Kyle more than Stan, but I think they have a great friendship in the show. Number 2 is Jimmy. And I really like Jimmy because much like Nathan, Jimmy is a handicapped kid who has different sides. And he can be positive, violent, and clueless. Nathan has more of a clue than he does. But Jimmy does have his darker side. I love the recent episode with PC Principal trying to have Jimmy run his newspaper by him. PC Principal doesn't want certain words in there. And so Jimmy's not allowed to make the paper the way he wants to. So Jimmy instead makes the paper the way he wants to, but instead of distributing it around the school, he gives it door to door to people in the town. And just kind of gives PC Principal this like big fuck you. And I'm thinking, oh my god, you have become awesome, Jimmy. I have just recently loved Jimmy, especially in these new episodes. And my number 1 pick, that used to belong to Cartman, now belongs to Stan's father, Randy Marsh. Randy has gone through so many addictions and changes and fads. He is the guy that wants to keep up with everything. The results are usually hilarious, and he is another clueless character that cares about certain things, but there's also certain things that are more for his own benefit. The things Randy does is just hilarious, because one minute he can be mature. I mean, he's supposed to be actually who Lord is, and he can write these great, meaningful songs, and in the next moment he can be at a game, drunk, fighting another dad. So he's a geologist, and there was a episode where he attempted to take the biggest crap. So he is another multi-dimensional one. He's intelligent enough to be a scientist, but not overly nerdy. He does stupid things, but obviously still can help raise children. Yeah, he right now, especially in the last few seasons, have really become just a hilarious freaking character to watch. So, yeah, I spent 10 minutes going over these lists because there are so many other people that I could put on this list, but I've made this Top 10 Tuesday, so I only had 10. I hope you enjoyed this list. Tell me who your favorite characters are.